Good evening. This is Today and Now, and my name is Job Ombati. If you've been watching this show, welcome to our program. And if this is the first time for you to see this program, I welcome you to our show. Today and Now comes to you every Friday at 8:30. We are also on here on Sunday in the afternoon. You can check our show also on www.manchestertv.org. You can see us on the internet. Today on the show with me is Marty Dowd. Marty Dowd is Assistant Director of 40 Hours for Life. Welcome, Marty, to the show.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Nice for you to come. So tell us about yourself briefly, what you do in this program, 40 Hours for Life.
Well, 40 Days for Life.
40 Days for Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like in the desert, Moses, 40 days. What we do is 40 Days for Life is part of an international organization.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, we have about 238 cities participating around the world. What we do is we essentially spend 40 days twice a year in peaceful prayer and fasting in front of abortion clinics, primarily Planned Parenthood.
So 40 Days for Life are not just days you pray and fast in New Hampshire or in America. It's international.
It's international. As a matter of fact, we currently have campaigns going on in Canada, Australia, England, Northern Ireland, and Denmark as well.
At the same time you do it concurrently?
All the same time.
Excellent.
September 22nd to October 31st is our current campaign.
And why, if somebody will ask, why are you having 40 hours prayer? What is the main aim of your prayers?
Well,
what do you want to accomplish?
Essentially, 40 Days for Life is an organization that prays peacefully for the conversion of all those who are or who support the culture of death. And by the culture of death, we mean, amongst other things, taking the lives of innocent children. We believe that abortion is murder because, you know, those innocent children in the womb have currently no protection.
So, in other words, you are speaking for the protection of those who cannot speak for themselves.
That is absolutely correct. I couldn't have said it better. So by peaceful protest or prayer and fasting, because we also fast, we hope to convert those people who might otherwise consider abortion as a form of birth control or as an alternative to having a child.
You know, it's funny, you have said about birth control as abortion as birth control. You know, in Africa, I was born there and I grew in Africa. My father is 80 years today and my mother is 78. I have learned from them and from my other family members that the way they used to control births in Africa is that the men and their women, they knew when not to have children and when to have children. They never went to this process we do today, which is painful, physically and psychologically, what these clinics do. I am wondering, is abortion the only alternative they have for birth control?
Oh, well, certainly not. We do recommend...
but it's the only thing that is too high now, and everybody's like, that's what they are teaching the children. That's what they are telling young teenagers, that you can have abortion. And that's why we have the clinic here.
Well, it's unfortunate, and Job, it's a sign of our times. It's a sign of our times in society. But organizations like Planned Parenthood, we will tell teenagers, for instance, if you look on their website, that it's okay to be promiscuous. They do not talk about abstinence, and they certainly don't talk about birth control. So when you look at the numbers, the highest numbers of abortions come from women who are about 20 to 24 years old. And most of those people who have abortions say that they're either not ready financially or that they don't feel that they have the resources to have their child. But we do not condone abortion because we believe that it's murder. I mean,
it is murder.
Yeah, you're taking a life.
It is murder.
Exactly.
And now I have a question, this one. This really troubles me. America's Constitution says very clearly that everybody has a right to life and the pursuit of happiness. You have a right to life. These are undeniable rights, right? So when does it not become a right for a child? Because once a child has been conceived, that's a person. That's a human being.
Exactly.
And if then this is a human being, this human being has a right to life.
Exactly.
So if this human being has a right to life, why would they license clinics to take off these rights to life?
Well, I certainly am totally in accord with what you're saying. As a matter of fact, and this is a very clear argument, currently in the United States, there are about 38 to 39 states out of the 50 that say that if a woman who is pregnant or is with child, if she's murdered, either by negligent homicide or direct homicide, first-degree murder, if the child dies as a result, it's considered a double homicide.
Double homicide.
Right. So what we're trying to reconcile,
That's my point now.
So we present this
double homicide, but
Exactly.
here we are killing children. Some are like 7 months pregnant. They are taken out, and it's not homicide. It's not murder.
No, and unfortunately, if you take a look at the scientific community, there isn't a geneticist or a doctor or anybody who's in that field who will dispute that when the sperm and the egg meet, that it's a distinct, from that very moment of conception, it's a distinct life form. Okay, so it's genetically distinct from the mother. So, and I always say, well, I'm fairly sure that you're not growing a kidney. you're growing a life. So
a human being.
Life begins at conception, and that's what we believe, and that's what we support.
And then these lawyers don't get these things done. I'm not a lawyer, but looking at it logically, this is something that they need to stop, because this is murder, which is acceptable, and the Constitution states clearly everybody has a right to life.
That's precisely correct.
Now, let me go to the Bible. The Bible says this way. When God told somebody like Jeremiah, you know better than I, that when I formed you in the womb, I knew you.
I knew you before I formed you.
So if God knows a child in the womb, and we are eliminating, how many children get killed every day, Marty, according to your statistics?
Well, currently what we know is since Roe versus Wade, January 22nd, 1973, the current statistics that we have say that, and this is probably underestimated, 52,800,000 children have been aborted in the United States alone since Roe versus Wade.
If you are watching this program, this is Today and Now. My name is Job Ombati. This Today and Now comes to you every week. And on this program, we discuss about issues. Some you don't agree with, and some you would agree with. This is what the talk show is about. If you have some concerns, if you want to say something, please write to me. Go to my website, todayandnow.net. You can also write me an email. You can go to Facebook. You can find Job Ombati there. You can also write or call me on my phone. We have to discuss these things because we live in this community and we care so much about our community. This is what this talk show is about. I believe that if people share information and if we tell our stories, we'll be able to understand one another. And today on the show is Marty Dowd, who is here to talk about 40 days for 40 days for life.
It's nice to be with you, Joe.
This is a big organization. They are doing what they know best, to pray and fast. They bring their request to God, and they know that God will answer them. I'm so glad you are here.
It's so nice to be here, Joe. Thank you for having me.
So I would like you to, there's so many people who wrote to me last time when we had
Lydia?
Lydia and Mike here. People wrote to me and said, Job, why are you talking about these issues about abortion? Women have their rights to do what they want. Mm-hmm. What can you answer them?
Well, you know, that's a question that we often get. And Mother Teresa of Calcutta, God rest her soul, Saint Teresa now, said that...
She has been sainthood?
I believe she's at least blessed.
That's cool.
Okay.
She did a good job.
But she said, a nation that kills its children is without hope.
I agree with that 100%.
Okay. So, with respect to women saying it's my choice, well, we understand the statement. Mm-hmm. But really, in all honesty, you can't play God. Uh-huh. Because even as a pro-life organization, as 40 Days for Life is, mm-hmm. we support natural birth through natural death, uh-huh. not playing God. And we understand, or at least we understand where the women are coming from when they say it's my choice. However, they can't play God. Because when they conceive, it's an individual they're talking about. Yeah. So for instance, if we're going to take the argument logically, mm-hmm. what's to say that I couldn't pull a gun on you and say, Joe, I don't like you. I don't want you. It's my choice. I'm going to shoot you. And I mean, it's dramatic.
Absolutely.
But that's essentially what it boils down to.
In every generation, we get people who are born, who moves the country forward. Every generation, we have great men and women born into this world. Mm-hmm. When we eliminate 52 million people, when we kill 100,000 children every year, every day in America, children mm-hmm. we don't know who they are going to be, how much damage are we doing, not only to our country, but to the world? Who knows what their children will do? What do you see this in 5 years, 10 years down the line, if we continue doing what we do?
To be honest with you, Job, I don't know that we can ever understand the true potential of the destruction of human life. If you look at the latest figures, as I mentioned earlier, 52,800,000 children. I'll give you an example. Let's go back to the Holocaust, World War II, Adolf Hitler. There were 6.5 million Jews that were murdered, and there were another 6 million people murdered because they were undesirable. Catholic priests, Africans, people they saw that were misfit, either they're retarded or...
They just killed them?
Exactly. They killed them because it was an unfortunate consequence. Now that's a total of 12.5 million people in World War II.
Yeah, that was 1945.
Exactly. And we talk about 52 million unborn souls that are committed to God now. 52,800,000. Who knows what the potential could be for the world? Now, if you take the liberal side, they might say, well, they could have been killers or rapists or criminal types.
Who knows?
But we're not supposed to play God.
Yeah. What if they could have been the greatest people who will help this world?